Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Elizabeth, and I run the blog lifefromtheviolasection.com, where I share my favorite practice tips, general advice, and tech for musicians. So if you love playing your instrument and you're thinking about getting a music performance degree, you might be wondering what is actually taught within that degree, within the 4 years that you would be in college. So today I'm going to go over exactly that, what is covered in a music performance degree through the 4 years. I went to Shenandoah Conservatory, which is kind of unique where it's part of a university, but it's a conservatory within that university. So the playing level was very high and the expectations were high. So my coursework was very, very music heavy, not so much on the gen eds. Other schools will do different things. I explain more about that in a video that I posted recently. You can definitely go check that out if you're interested in kind of finding the right school for you. So as a music performance major, the most important thing that you do is your weekly lessons. These are usually an hour long, and they're lessons with someone who plays your instrument. And hopefully if you go to a really good school with a really good program, they are a professional or even like a master of their instrument. They've, achieved really great things on that instrument. So one of the most important things that you can do when you're choosing a college is finding a good teacher that you get along with, that you find is inspiring, and that you could see yourself learning from for 4 years. It's very important that that relationship is good because you will probably spend at least an hour a week with that teacher for 4 years, and that's a lot of time spent together. In your lessons, you of course focus on technique, repertoire, maybe orchestral excerpts if that's the kind of job that you're interested in, etudes to help build your technique, and you will work towards any of the goals that you have in college and beyond for your career. Then with your lessons, you will usually have a jury at the end of the semester, which is an opportunity for you to play in front of a couple teachers who judge you and give you a score and a grade and constructive feedback on what you can work on. So you work on whatever you've practiced for the semester for them. It's almost like an audition. You're just getting a grade and feedback, and it's like your final grade for your lessons, essentially. So lots of people get nervous about juries. It's very understandable because it's a performance with a lot of strings attached. And then as you get through the degree, maybe your junior and senior year, you'll have to put on recitals, which basically are live juries. You play your recital, teachers are there as judges, and they give you grades and feedback. Next, you'll have to play in some ensembles. I had to do orchestra and chamber music, and then there were a couple other kind of smaller ensembles that I would be in and out of as needed. You might have to do orchestra and chamber music, or wind ensemble and chamber music, or jazz and chamber music, or any other kind of combination based on the style of music that you're going for and what your instrument is. It helps you learn how to collaborate with others. It can strengthen your sight reading skills just because you have to learn a lot of music in a short amount of time. And just spending time in ensembles with others and with a different teacher, the conductor of that ensemble, you learn so many stylistic things and nuances about playing music that is going to be so helpful for your playing career through the rest of your life. Next, you'll have quite a few music theory classes. A lot of people do not like music theory. It is what it is. You're learning about the styles and the rules that composers have followed through a large chunk of music history. Definitely not all of music history, depending on how in-depth your classes go. But you learn about the rules, and then eventually you will find composers who really, really broke the rules and created their own. But understanding music theory is very important as you become a performer because it can help you understand the music on a much deeper level and even help you learn the music faster. If I can identify the chords and arpeggios in my piano music while I'm sight reading, it helps me play so much easier. My mind is so much more freed up when I play rather than thinking of each individual note. I just know, okay, this is a G major arpeggio. Now we're switching to G minor, and my hands just know what to do. You'll also get some aural training in there, which is ear training. This is where you learn how to write down music that you hear and how to sing things without playing it on an instrument first. It really, really strengthens your brain and your musical knowledge and your musical ear. So these classes are super important, even though a lot of us might find them scary. I can promise you, as someone who's been graduated for a couple of years now, those classes have really, really been helpful. They strengthened my ear so much, and I have a really good, deep understanding of music now thanks to my music theory and ear training courses. Alongside that, you will also have music history classes. Depending on your instrument, again, like if you're on the jazzier side, you might have jazz history. If you're on the classical side, you will probably have Western music theory, which is based on that classical style, like Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, etc. The most fun thing about having had music theory classes in college is now listening to the classical station on the radio. My fiance and I will listen to the music and guess, okay, what composer are we thinking? And like we list our reasons why, and then like half the time we get it right, and it's so exciting because in music history you learn about all of the styles and developments that music has gone throughout history, and how different composers bent the rules and changed it and left their own fingerprint on music. And so being able to just identify things, first of all, it's really fun, but it can also be really helpful, and you can just have a better understanding of music as a whole, which as a performer really, I swear, is so helpful. You might have a performance seminar or studio classes. Studio classes usually go along with lessons, but this is where your teacher and all of their other students, so all of the violists, will gather together and someone will play and you'll all give feedback, and you just kind of play for each other. You get a lot of performance experience that way, and you also get really good teaching experience because you start to learn what to listen for and ways that can help the problems that you hear. Studio class has been so helpful for me as a private teacher. I think back on like things that I used to say to people or things that I would listen for, and it helps me today as I work with younger students. Performance seminar is usually like a weekly class where you'll perform for other performance majors of any instrument. It can be a little bit scary, but it's all to train you to be a performer. And if you want to perform, you have to have a thick skin and you have to just be able to do it on the fly. I know it's scary, but it's just music. It is only music. And we're doing this because we love music. And I promise it's not that bad. It really is not. Being a music major is so much fun. And I love being a musician now today. I promise it's worth it. You'll also probably have some conducting classes. These were scary for me, but as a teacher now who teaches group classes and master classes occasionally, I will have to conduct to lead those students and keep them all together. So those skills also come in handy. And if you ever decide that you want to lead an ensemble or teach an orchestra or something, you're going to need those conducting skills. So something that traditional music performance programs are not always great at are teaching you how to build your career or how to be an entrepreneur, how to run your own business. So some schools are thinking more towards the future and updating their programs to include career, entrepreneurial, and business classes for their students, which is wonderful. These classes really should be mandatory for any music performance major, because as a performer, you are very likely going to be your own boss and you are going to run your own career. Even if you work in an orchestra, even if you have kind of a steady performance job, it's never going to be exactly the same as being a school teacher or working in an office or being a doctor. Those careers, I feel, I've never been a school teacher, a doctor, or worked in an office as a career, but a music career is always just a little bit different because it's creative and you often have to make the opportunities for yourself or be really diligent in finding opportunities for yourself. And so that is much different than creating a resume, applying for places, and doing job interviews. Those are very important skills as well, and they don't always come naturally to everyone. There are classes for that. That's great. That's amazing. It's just a little bit different for musicians and people who want to perform and be creative as a career. So if you find a school that you want to go to, see if they offer any career, entrepreneurial, or business classes. If not, I highly recommend taking those sorts of classes outside of the music school, or at least doing a lot of research, finding resources online or in books, mostly online. Mostly online resources are the ones that are going to be up to date. Since technology has advanced so much in the last 20 years, a lot of books now about music careers are pretty outdated just because the way that we find opportunities and the kind of opportunities that we can create for ourselves are much different thanks to newer, very cool technology. So career classes are hopefully one aspect of the music performance degree. Sometimes they're offered, sometimes they're not, but it's my feeling that those are very, very, very important. Finally, you might also have pedagogy classes where they teach you how to teach. You might observe other students and you might learn about different teaching techniques and different styles based on different influential pedagogues. So it's up to you whether or not you think that a performance major is worth it. There is so much that goes into that conversation, and it's not for everybody, but for those who feel that it's right for them, it is so worth it and it's so great. So those are the basic classes that you will probably have no matter where you go to school, at least in the United States, and if you're looking for kind of a classical performance major or maybe jazz, just because that is what I'm used to. I did a classical music performance major. So you learn so much about performing, about yourself, about music as a whole, that will stick with you and make you a really strong person and a really strong musician. If you have any questions about how any music major works, please let me know down below, or if you'd like some more in-depth, maybe reels about different classes that you might have to take, please let me know down in the comments. And over on the blog, which is always linked below, I will be dispelling some myths, and I'm very excited for that, so definitely go check that out. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.